Okay, so I have a take that might be somewhat controversial, but to be honest with you, I kind of hope not. I think there needs to be a push to our elected and appointed leaders, in particular on the Democratic side. We can push Republicans to do this too, but I'm not sure they would go for it. I think it's fine if they don't go for it because that kind of demonstrates something that myself and others really kind of want to point out anyway. So, what I'm suggesting we push is a suicide prevention hotline for the MAGA folks that are really struggling with all that is kind of coming out and how the Trump and the Republican regime are handling things with the Epstein files. There's a lot of stuff that keeps coming out, and that is going to be the case for a long time, given that Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends. Both of them have said this publicly. This isn't just me saying this. This is in the public record. They have been best friends for 10 to 15 to 20 years. So effectively what we have happening is a major rift with people that are in MAGA. And as many of us understand, MAGA is, for all intents and purposes, a cult or a cult-like movement. And these people that this is happening to is quite traumatic. Like, I have a background in psychology. I'm not like an expert on cults or anything like that, but I've learned about cults quite a bit. And passively my girlfriend watches a lot of stuff that deals with cults, and I've been listening to some content recently for people that are subject matter experts in cults, cult behavior, and they, one of them they were in a cult and they left a cult, and it's a very traumatic experience. It's one of the hardest things for human beings to do. Think about it like a really, really bad breakup, but like magnify that by a whole lot, because their identities are kind of tied up into their kind of worship of Donald Trump, and they have this kind of, I don't know, almost force field that's they're like kind of fenced in, the way that this one lady described it, where if they start to think anything that might sort of disrupt their worship of Trump, they kind of check themselves, because their brain has kind of fed a chemical release when they're thinking about their support for Trump. I'm not really explaining it properly, but the reality is I see a high potential in the near future of a possible major increase in people ending things, because many of them are not going to have sufficient supports. Like, they've lost family, they've lost friends, they've lost jobs. A lot of their life was tied up into Donald Trump. For the ones that don't have their religion to fall back on, I think that's going to be particularly devastating. So I think we need to make sure that they have resources available. Like, yes, I understand people are frustrated with what these people have brought upon the United States, but they're still human beings. The conditions that are relevant that led them down this path are what we really need to focus on going forward. Like, the failures of the Republican Party, which was intentional to create this outcome, but also the failures of the Democratic Party, who haven't sufficiently fought back against fascism, right? We need to fix our house. We need to address the Democratic Party, but we need to have a safety net in place for these people. And all it really takes is just letting them kind of, like, if you have a space to listen to them, give them a space to kind of vent out and experience what they're experiencing, and just give them time and ask just simple, like, basic questions, but like nothing judgmental. Don't beat them up. It's like, we don't need to go down that road. Like, we can understand human beings can falter, and cults are a thing. There are lots of examples of different cults, and once people get in, it's really hard to get them out. So for the people that are finding their way out, we kind of got to give them space and give them a little bit of grace. I understand you might be angry, but vengeance is not going to be helpful. And like, we're going to need all of us to move forward and try to reunite the country. And we can't have them thinking that the Democratic, like, people that support the left-wing causes, they can't see us as demonic, like, navel gazing jerks. That's not really who we are. Many of us have just been too reactive with all of this stuff, and we need to meet each other somewhere. And it's fine if you're having a hard time getting there. It's fine to like put up boundaries, set some expectations and limitations for the conversation, and being slow, deliberate, delivering your points. The other thing I think that we need to advocate for is to have whatever relevant resources available and that are based on evidence-based practices for helping people transition out of a cult. So I don't have like a list off the top of my head for that, but we need our people to provide mental health supports. And I know that, the Trump regime, ended the suicide prevention hotline for people that are LGBTQ+. I know that. That's terrible. I don't agree with that. I know they cut a bunch of resources for veterans, fired a lot of veterans. I know that. That's terrible. That's not what I'm talking about here. We're talking about our fellow people, whether we agree or disagree. We believe people should have dignity. They should get the care that they need. We take care of our people. I'm a veteran. I was trained to take care of our quote-unquote enemies if there was a situation where we were capturing them or they gave themselves up. We're still supposed to treat them humanely, right? We're still supposed to take care of their basic needs. Like, we either believe in care for all of us or we believe in care for none of us. That's where my stance is on this. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you're hearing anybody in the in the government putting out things like this, please tag me, because I want to make sure that we spread that message. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's already got something like this going, we want to just encourage other parties that have the power to do so, continue to do so. And this is not me saying like put aside caring for other things like reporting ICE and all that stuff. I'm just saying, like, it's on the pile. We have a big pile of stuff to do, and all of us are going to do our best to do whatever part that we're capable of doing, or sometimes we have to disengage altogether, and that's fine too. That's part of self-care. Like, you can't take care of anybody if you're not in good shape to do anything. So you have to take care of yourself. I appreciate you guys listening, and if this makes you angry, I hear where you're coming from. I really do. But there needs to be some recognition that this stuff, this mess that we're in, does not need to be permanent. And if we get to a point where we're getting past it, we do have to take these steps. We do have to figure it out. How do we come back together? How do we make sure that people have a space so they have something they can believe in, and they can be part of the picture of how we put things back together again? Like, if we have people out there on the fringes, that's the situation that led to all of this. We had people that felt left out, let down, forgotten, and they felt like their government didn't care. People didn't care enough. And I'm just saying, we need a mega dose of care in this country and other things that have care in the model. If you heard me before, you know what I'm talking about. Bernie Sanders supporters certainly do. So that's my message. Take it or leave it. If you want to help me out, we can write letters, we can make phone calls, we can send emails saying, hey, we know MAGA got talked into doing some stuff that we wish they didn't do. That happened. We got to move on. How do we help the ones that are leaving MAGA right now, that are literally breaking down? And some of them, if they don't get some kind of support, they won't make it. And maybe you care about that, maybe you don't care. But if you're a human being, I think you should. We're just people in the end. All right. Take care of yourselves, guys. Bye.